guys, give me 2 seconds as usual. Hang on. Sorry I'm running a little bit late. Thanks for joining me, by the way. Let me put on my apron. I was looking at my last broadcast and I realized how scruffy I look without an apron on. Scruffy and frumpy and whatever. And thanks for joining me, by the way. But my name is Jackie M. Jackie M. You can tell I'm still not 100% because I'm all over the place. I've got the splitting headache still from my cold. But yeah, my name is Jackie M. I am a Malaysian-born, Sydney, Australia-based Southeast Asian street food cook primarily. And I live stream here on Twitch, and I actually now multi-stream across a number of different platforms. And for a change, I am actually in fact going to monitor the comments coming in from YouTube and of course Periscope, if I can pull it up. Let me just turn off the volume. That's the tricky thing about live streaming. Oops, it's not what I want. It's not what I want. Okay, I want to turn down the volume. I've got this new phone here. It's not the ringtone. I want to edit the media audio. Okay, let's do this. Sorry guys, just give me a couple of minutes to get organized. And today I'm going to be doing something vegan, only because I don't have the right ingredients to make it a non-vegan dish, essentially. But I am trying to use up more of the banana leaves you saw me use the other day, because I bought a bundle of it for a couple of cooking videos I filmed last weekend, and I want to be able to use them up before they die, essentially. So this particular recipe involves wrapping these rolls. They're kind of like you know, sushi rolls, but Malaysian sushi rolls, if you can imagine, but wrapped in banana leaves instead of seaweed. So should be pretty simple. And let me just share across Facebook. Facebook tends to be a little bit flaky. Let me hop over to Facebook and share my stream over there. And don't forget just to say hello if you're just joining me now. And also, while we're waiting, just want to give a shout out to Lenovo Australia and New Zealand for the laptop I use for my live streaming, which is an IdeaPad Y700. I also have some other Lenovo devices here to keep track of my multi-streams on other platforms. And also shout out to Rode microphones for the microphone I use for my live streaming, right? And like I said, for the first time ever, I actually am going to try and monitor any chats that come in from YouTube, all right? It's not like I get that many of them, but sometimes I realize after the fact that someone's commented and I ignored them. And it's nothing personal, but for those of you watching on other platforms, right? Like I said, I'm going to try and monitor the chats coming in from all directions, but just keep in mind, my primary platform is Twitch, which is twitch.tv/JackieMFood, all right? And don't forget to follow me over there, because it's only followers on Twitch who are basically qualified based on the tool that I use to draw prizes. It's only my Twitch viewers whose name automatically get pulled by the essentially the app to basically enter you into these giveaways. Okay, so just let me. Crunchy, what's wrong with my title? Okay, let me hop over to Facebook and share this. Where are we? Where are we? Okay, let's share this. Bear with me, guys. Okay, I just want to share this across my other Facebook profiles. Okay. And it's always the case that the computer that I'm running the Facebook stream on seems to actually freeze up a little bit. So it's quite frustrating. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And hi, Cyan. Share. Come on, just share it, will you? Share. So like I said, what we're doing today is a vegan dish, and essentially we're going to be using sticky rice, right? I mentioned this is not too different to sushi rolls, but in Malaysia, Pulut Panggang, Pulut literally means like glutinous rice, okay? So we're using glutinous rice over here, and you always see in recipe books and all that sort of stuff that they call for the sticky rice to be steamed. Okay, you know, in all honesty, a lot of the time you can get away without actually having to steam them. You can actually just cook them in a rice cooker. I'm going to cook them in my pressure cooker today. So this is my optimum pressure cook. Okay, and that's what I'm going to be using to steam to cook the sticky rice, and hopefully it turns out okay. So let's live Asian kitchen, like how to make Pulut Panggang. Okay, and post it. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. Okay, cool, ready, guys. So let's get started by cooking the rice. Okay, this is the sticky rice. I'm not going to bother washing it. Okay, if you're really doing things correctly, you'll want to rinse this out a couple of times, strain it out and all that sort of stuff. That's how we did it as kids, okay? But I don't know whether it's by virtue of the manufacturing process, but a lot of the time the rice nowadays don't really require that many changes of water, alright? That's how I feel. That's my excuse anyway for not steaming it. Okay, so in goes the rice. Let's do about half a bag. So this is a 1 kilo bag, I believe. So I'm only doing about that much, okay? And I want to actually add a bit of salt to this, and just kind of like, just to give it a tinge of flavor. So a bit of salt. Okay, and I want to add some water to this. And also I'm going to add some coconut milk, okay? Let's mix this around. Coconut cream to be exact. Okay, and I've mentioned the coconut cream brand the other day, right? It's called Rasa Ku. This is, I haven't used this, oh, well, I used it in cooking demonstrations in Cabramatta a couple of weeks ago, but I don't usually use Rasa Ku. I'm told it's very good, okay? So let's do this. Crunchy says she's going to change the title, but I haven't seen that happen yet. Let's have a look. Like I said, I'm going to continually monitor the chats coming in from other places, hopefully. I struggle with Periscope because Periscope does not, because I'm using a third-party tool called Restream.io, and it doesn't seem to allow me to pre-configure my Periscope session. Okay, so in goes the coconut cream. There's actually quite a lot of it. Okay, let's mix this around a little bit. Essentially, I want to cook this and have it quite soft. Okay, there you go. So sticky rice, glutinous rice, water, coconut cream, and salt. Let's do this and white rice. Okay, I'm gonna cook it as though it were white rice, right? And it will take about 20 minutes, give or take. Let's put this away. Now, I mentioned that this is going to be vegan, and part of the reason why it's vegan is because I don't have these mini dried shrimps I usually put in my Pulut Panggang. I used to actually sell this at my market stall back in the day, right? So these are basically, like I said, they're almost like sushi rolls. If you can imagine a sushi roll that's not been cut up into little like segments, that's essentially what it is. So they're like long tubes wrapped in banana leaves. They're lightly pan fried or grilled, right, to bring out the flavor of the banana leaves, so it permeates the sticky rice. But you can't get banana leaves, leave it out, all right? I have made this in the past during one of these live broadcasts. I've made it in the past just using seaweed sheets, okay? So essentially it turns into like a fusion roll, okay? But obviously seaweed sheets are a little bit easier to come by depending on which part of the world you come from, as opposed to banana leaves. But if you have banana leaves, use banana leaves. Let me just get a rubber band just to tie this up. So as far as the ingredients that go into the filling, we are talking about, like I said, usually I would have minced, dried shrimp that I would soak in water and then rinse out and then mince, okay? So that adds that kind of like slightly shrimpy note to the filling. And also you're gonna have chili, you're gonna have onion, you're gonna have garlic, and you're gonna have usually belacan, which is a shrimp paste. Okay, but because I don't have the dried shrimp, I'm going to dispense with the non-vegetarian ingredients. Okay, so I'm gonna dispense with the shrimp paste. Hopefully it turns out just as nice, but we'll see how we go. That was a beep. Let's go on to where are we? Okay. Okay. So we're going to have some coconut, desiccated coconut again. All right. So this can be made quite cheaply if you have things like desiccated coconut. You can pick up at your local supermarket. So we want onion, we want garlic, we want desiccated coconut, we want some chili, and I'm going to add, because in the absence of belacan, the shrimp paste, I'm going to add some curry powder to this, and then we're gonna like add some you know, people joke about my use of chicken powder, but because this is going to be vegan, and I've just realized I need to move my microphone a little bit closer. I just realized after speaking for 5 minutes that my microphone is nowhere near where it should be. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so we're going to make Pulut Panggang, right? But it's going to be a vegan version. Pulut Panggang, like I said, is going to be, in case you had trouble hearing me, I don't know, up to this point, Pulut Panggang is essentially a sticky rice roll, right? Sticky rice with a spicy filling in the middle, wrapped up into a roll with banana leaves and secured at the ends. And then what you do is you just lightly toast it on a grill or on an open flame or just in a pan fry, and that just helps to release some of the nice banana leaf aroma, right, to your dish. But again, if you can't get banana leaves, just get seaweed sheets, okay, and that will turn it a little bit Japanese, but it will essentially do the same thing, because seaweed sheets will help protect the sticky rice from getting dry and crusty in the process. Okay. Don't forget to say hello in the chat if you're just joining us now. Like I said, I'm trying to monitor the chat messages on all my platforms, including YouTube. Okay, so say hello on YouTube, say hello on Facebook, and say hello on Periscope. So here are some banana leaves. Let's get some coconut. Again, this is just everything I earn is in like industrial quantities. This was a big 10-kilo bag of coconut. Here we go. And this, we're going to get a couple of cups of it. Okay, so in the absence of dried shrimp, I'm using more coconut in here. But one thing I want to add, right, that I think will kind of like make this a little bit interesting, which is thankfully vegan, is some minced preserved radish. Okay, this is what it looks like. Minced preserved radish. Okay, there's what you usually will find if you have a decent pad thai, and it tastes like there are like little crunchy, salty bits in it. That's what it is, okay? It's minced preserved radish, and I actually used to use this in a dish called chai tau kueh, or chai kueh guak. I'm trying to remember what it is in Penang. I didn't grow up in Penang, up north in Malaysia, so I know a lot of the terminology we grew up with down south are different. In chai kueh guak, I think that's what it's called. Okay, so this is the radish that I use in my radish cake, fried radish cake, or chai tau kueh. So this is all like residual from my business from way back when. Okay, so we're going to add some of that to kind of like add a little bit of a crunchy texture and kind of like a nice little salty, you know, tone to the dish as well. And okay, so I think I might add a little bit of water to this. And also what I'm going to do is peel a couple of onions. And I'm going to toss in like a fresh chili over here. Alright, I don't know how spicy this is, but this is my bag of fresh chilies. Okay, I don't know what variety they are. I bought them because they were cheap over here. Okay, so I'm gonna actually just peel and quarter this and then throw it into my food processor and blend it up. Let me just scroll up. Okay, where are we? Here you go. Okay, so by the way, guys, this Sunday I've been invited to Sea Whiskey. How you doing? Good to see you. I've been invited to a Vietnamese restaurant over in Strathfield after church this Sunday, and I might actually live stream from there because the people who invited me, the owners of the restaurant, they have launched their own brand of like a what's called a Vietnamese satay sauce. Okay, so it's called Satay Boys, right? And I didn't know because I actually was given a jar of this at my cooking demonstrations in Cabramatta a couple of weekends ago, essentially by this guy who I didn't know. He said he was a great fan of my work and he just launched that product and he gave me a jar of it and I took it and I really liked it. He contacted me on online, and then it turns out he owns a Vietnamese restaurant over in Strathfield, so I'm gonna go check it out. So this Sunday, hopefully, assuming everything works okay and I'm not too preoccupied with actually everything else, I might actually live stream from his restaurant so you guys get an idea of what a Sydney Vietnamese restaurant looks like and the kind of food they serve there and all that sort of stuff as well. Alright, so make sure you check my announcements on Discord. By the way, if you're not on Discord, go and follow me over on Discord. Discord is essentially like for those of you who are not, I tend to find if you're in the Twitch ecosystem, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not, you have no idea, right? So before I joined the Twitch ecosystem a few months ago, I had no idea what Discord was either. But Discord is essentially like WhatsApp for gamers, essentially, because Twitch is technically known for its good gaming streams, right? I'm not a gamer, but that's because Twitch started to diversify its live stream offerings just over a year ago when it got taken over by Amazon. So nowadays you do find a number of different types of streams on Twitch, right? Like mine, cooking. Okay, so let's cut this up. And if I feel that this needs more heat later on, I'm gonna at the moment I'm just adding 1 chili to it. Okay, if I feel like it needs more heat, I can always chuck in some chili flakes after the fact. Okay, so in this goes. Okay, I need to put this together. You can be a gamer too. You can if you really want to. I don't want to. I don't. There's not enough hours in my life left for me to game. Okay, so this is assembled, right? This is, by the way, is an Optimum Thermal Cook. Okay, so it's a multi-function cooking appliance, and what I want in here, the onion and the chili, and you know what? I'm gonna add some lemongrass to this as well, just to kind of like give it a nice little lemongrassy note. Okay. So let's do this. And I just realized I've got an entire whole chicken in my fridge that I haven't cooked up yet, that I bought for my cooking videos last weekend. So if we have time after this, I might actually just do something with it. Not sure what yet. So that's just minced lemongrass I've sprinkled in there. Okay, it doesn't actually technically needs to be minced anymore, but I'm just throwing it in so that it mixes well with the other ingredients that are already in there. And on top of that, I'm going to add some dried garlic as well. All right, you can use fresh garlic, but I'm trying to I'm trying to save my fresh garlic for more interesting dishes. Okay, so here's the garlic. Okay, so this is just dried granulated garlic. Okay, I prefer if I didn't have access to fresh garlic, I prefer dried garlic granules as opposed to minced garlic that sit in jars. All right, those ones I tend to find to taste too artificial, fundamentally. Okay, so let's just zip this in my thermocook. Here you go. Okay, so there you go. Like I said, because this is vegan, I just need to think through a little bit, like the kind of like balance of flavors that are going to go in there. I'm not a vegan myself, but you know, yeah, I figured this would make for a good vegan dish. But I just need to be a little bit like mindful of like what goes in there, just so we can have something that's interesting. I always associate vegan food with like, you know, boring food, but that's just me. Okay, the other thing I'm going to add to this is this, you know, we all make fun of the use or overuse of chicken powder in my recipes over here. This is actually mushroom seasoning powder, okay? This is what we Asians use in lieu of chicken powder if we are going vegan or vegetarian with our cooking. I'm trying to see if I can find the original bag that it comes in. Okay, that might be all that's left of it. Okay, so I'm going to use what I have of this, and I'm gonna add some sugar and some salt as far as seasoning, and I'm gonna add some regular, this is commercially available fried shallots, right? You can see it over here, fried shallots. Okay, and I am going to fry this up with some oil, okay, just to brown it and make it aromatic. Let's just move some of these things out of the way, and I will come back with a stove, I think. Yeah. Stove, and what am I going to use? Let me think. I seem to fall back on this one quite a lot these days. Okay, there's like a stoneware saucepan from Aldi. Okay, let me just grab some oil as well. And in all honesty, because I'm still sick, I don't really have the appetite to actually, just trying to see what that is. Let me just, someone just messaged me on Messenger, and not realizing I'm live streaming. Okay, so want to heat this up? Let's throw in the mixture from the food processor. Usually conventional wisdom would tell you to actually add the oil, heat up the oil, and then throw this in, but I generally tend to find that because of the onion, the pureed onion in here, it can tend to spit, right, when you do that. So I prefer to actually dry fry it first, to basically reduce some of the moisture before I add the oil, okay? But that's just me. But any recipe blog or any cookbook you find regarding cooking up what this is essentially called rempah, which just means kind of like the spice paste in Malay. Any recipe that calls for frying the rempah always tells you to heat up the oil and then add this in, okay? But like I say, I do this to circumvent the spitting that you get when you do that. Okay. So again, remember, vegan, but otherwise usually you would have minced dried shrimp in this. You can even use minced fresh prawn, okay, but that makes it a little bit expensive to use. but minced dried shrimp, and also usually it will have belacan or terasi, which is shrimp paste, okay? But because we're going vegan today, we're omitting all that. Okay, you can hear, hopefully, once the sizzling starts to dissipate, you can then actually add the oil, okay? You can still hear the sizzling a little bit here. And if you're just joining me, the rice is just cooking in the background over here. And it's actually sticky rice. I'm cooking it as though it were normal rice, okay? But we'll see how it turns out. I'm just getting all these messages from all these people who don't realize I'm currently live streaming, even though I posted it on Facebook. Is this usually done with palm oil? You know, a lot of street food is done with palm oil in Malaysia nowadays. Back in my day as a kid, you don't really ask what kind of oil it is. So I don't know whether it's something that has transitioned over the decades since I left the country, but when I go back there now, a lot of the street food is actually cooked with palm oil, because Malaysia is like one of the world's biggest producers of palm oil. And the fact of the matter is, not all palm oil is created equal, all right? People tend to have negative connotations associated with palm oil, firstly from the health benefit side of things, and secondly from the environmental kind of like impact side of things, okay? So from a health side of things, there's two different types of palm oil. There's you know, palm oil that's made from like the palm kernel, and there's palm oil made from the palm fruit, okay? Palm oil made from a palm fruit is actually very healthy for you. It's akin to eating like coconut oil, okay? And also from an environmental point of view, right, in Malaysia, people always think of palm oil and they think about the deforestation in Indonesia. That doesn't actually happen in the peninsula of Malaysia, right? People think about deforestation in Indonesia, and they think about like the impact on orangutan habitats, okay? But Malaysia, the peninsula of Malaysia doesn't actually have orangutans, right? So there's no concern about orangutans being displaced over there. But I have been previously associated, or I've previously collaborated with a palm oil producer in Malaysia called Caratino, and they have won a bunch of international environmental awards for the work they do in terms of environmental sustainability. And also their palm oil plantations are actually like built on pre-existing cleared land from the colonial days, okay? So they're not raising new forests and that sort of stuff at all. So, and also they produce palm fruit oil, which is healthy oil. Okay, so we're gonna add the oil in now, right? And in Australia, I just use vegetable oil. Okay, so that's my pressure cooker telling me that it's getting like wrapping up the cooking, or close to it anyway. So what we want to do now is just fry this till it's aromatic and the oil separates. That's what they always say. Essentially what it means is you want to brown the onion, okay? You don't want to just caramelize the onion, you want to brown it. And this usually is the most tedious part of cooking Malaysian curries and Malaysian, anything that requires a spice paste, right? And sometimes you can cheat a little bit and just kind of like, oh yeah, I think that's good enough. But the idea with this frying is that it brings out like the flavor of the onions, you know, and all the other spices as well, the fresh spices like the garlic and the lemongrass and all that, okay? I'm dropping frames. Why am I dropping frames? Let me have a look. Okay. Hopefully it's okay. But it says that I'm dropping frames a little bit here. That's a little bit worrying, especially when you're paying. It's kind of hard to get a flavor-wise. What's the closest to palm oil for Malaysian? It's kind of hard to get around here. Yeah, look. You know, people always assume that it's because it's Asian food that peanut oil is best, and I guess you could use peanut oil, but I've never been that focused on the kind of oil we use. Growing up as a kid, in fact, a lot of the street food, because the street food scene is kind of like dominated by the Chinese vendors, right? And Chinese used to use a lot of pork lard, right? So you know, that was kind of like one of my aversions about eating street food in Malaysia. back when I was a kid, and then when I went back as an adult, I was told no, they don't use pork oil in a lot of their cooking nowadays, only because it's now seen as not healthy. All right, the traditionalists will still insist pork oil, like the it's best, right? But apparently, like even some of the well-known street food vendors who cook char kway teow and all that, they no longer use pork oil. Okay. But as far as making curries and that sort of stuff, I just use regular vegetable oil. By the way, Seal Whiskey, did you catch soybeans Thanksgiving broadcast? I missed it because I was all over the place, and I should have turned on notifications for when she was going to go live, but I didn't, and I missed it completely. Okay, lad, I can buy buckets of manteca for cheap. What's manteca? Hey, Sammy, how you doing? Okay, so you technically want to actually fry this a little bit more, but I'm going to add the coconut in now. So this is just good old desiccated coconut. I probably don't need that much here. Okay. And I am hoping that I'm not still dropping frames, am I? Okay, no, that was it. Yeah, I was there. Okay, how was it? Damn, I wish I was there, but like I said, like, you know, it was a... You can tell I'm still not 100%, you know, my voice is still scratchy, I'm still lacking sleep, and I'm not... I'm not that invested in this dish. I really only decided to make it because I want to use up like some of these banana leaves. Mexican lard. Ah, okay. You know, back soon, gonna have a shower. Okay, cool, no worries. Okay, so in goes the coconut, right? I'm just gonna turn down the heat a little bit, and I'm going to add, like I said, this is my point of difference. This is gonna be my my secret ingredient, okay? This is minced preserved radish, okay? And I'm just gonna sprinkle it. This is usually what they use in something like pad thai, okay? And I am like, I am buffering on this computer and it annoys me. Okay. And when I'm buffering, I wonder whether it's the connection on that particular computer, which is connected to my regular ADSL line, right? Whereas my broadcast computer is connected to my 4G internet. Okay, so I have the pièce de la resistance in the minced preserved radish. Now I'm going to add some seasoning, and again I'm using in lieu, because this is going to be vegan, I'm not using chicken powder, I'm using mushroom powder. Essentially is what this is, or mushroom seasoning powder. Okay, so this in fact actually has a bit of MSG in it, alright? But let's mix this up, and if you think this is too dry, you can add some water to this. And I'm going to add some salt as well, okay, because I tend to find this mushroom seasoning to be on the sweet side. It lacks the saltiness of chicken powder, okay? So in goes the salt. Mix it around. I'm going to add some sugar as well, okay? Around a little bit more, and you see that it's just browning up a little bit more now because of some of the moisture being absorbed by the desiccated coconut. All right, if, like I said, if it's too dry, because I do want this to be a little bit moist, okay, if it's too dry, I'm just going to add the add some water to this. But I also want to add some fried shallots as well. If nothing else, this adds a little bit of bulk to the filling, okay? Because I always feel that vegan stuff needs all the help they can get. All right, and I should have added the curry powder beforehand, but let's just taste test it quickly and see what it's like so far, and then we can adjust the flavors. Okay, I'm just turn this off. Okay, it does need some water added to this. I'm gonna add some curry powder. And And it's a matter of convenience. I'm adding this. This is called rendang spice mix or rendang powder. Okay. Okay, that's Noah. Mr. Noah, let me check on him. Hey. Oi, what's the matter, silly Lily? Hey, what's the matter? Hey, hey, then you want to watch your show? Hey, then you want to watch your show? I am still dropping frames. This is really concerning. Why am I dropping frames? Right, I am connected to my fastest internet and I'm dropping frames. This is not good. Okay, so this is a rendang curry powder, right? Rendang powder. No, we don't touch, please. Don't touch. Don't touch. Don't touch. And look, you can add any kind of curry powder. It's just Malaysian curry powders tend to come in like three broad categories. Okay, they're either labeled as rendang curry powder or meat curry powder or fish curry powder. There are other oops, no. There are other extrapolations of them, but like generally we don't just have like a Malaysian brand generic curry powder. Okay, we like to think they're a little bit more nuanced than that, but that's all it means. So let's just mix this in and let's just add some water to this. Okay. Now you're gonna watch TV. You're gonna go inside and watch TV, right? Okay. You're gonna go inside and watch TV. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's add a bit more oil. Let me just taste test this again. Okay. It needs more. It needs more kind of like frying to mix in the flavors a bit better. No, you wanna go watch TV? You wanna watch Barney? Come, let's put some Barney on for you. Okay, come. You wanna watch Barney? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Oh, thanks for hosting Mom Nom's TV. Okay, so I've added some more liquid to this and I'm gonna add more oil to fry it back up. Okay, so if you're just joining me, we are making, here we go. We are making a vegan version of a snack, Malaysian snack that usually is made with dried shrimp, right? I don't have any dried shrimp lying around, so I'm actually veganizing this thing, okay? And in the process, I've removed what one other ingredient that usually goes into it, which is belacan, which is a shrimp paste, okay? And in its place, I've added some minced preserved radish, which has got a salty and sweet kind of like a note to it. And that just kind of like adds some crunchiness to the filling texture and also add some flavor as well, right? And I've put a little bit of curry powder, not much in here, just make it a little bit more interesting. Now we're going to fry it up and hopefully the flavors will mix well. So right now it tastes like, I can taste the saltiness and I can taste the sweetness, but like they're apart, okay? Here you go. So let me just share podcast and post on Twitter, and I'm going to do hashtag, where is it? Hashtag, where are we? Pause. Scope October. Okay. October taste this. Okay, it's a little bit more interesting now. It needs more heat though, it needs more chili. So I'm just gonna add some chili, this is like chili crush is how it's sold as. I don't know why I'm dropping frames, this is really annoying me. This is my super duper high-speed internet that I pay $150 just to be able to live stream every month, and it is failing on me. This is really annoying. I hope there's not too much disruption to my stream here. Okay, so let's mix this up a little bit better. Close this up. Let's have a look. And make sure you say hello if you're watching me on any other platforms. I'm going to try and like check on the comments for a change. Let's have a look. So this is multi-streaming across YouTube, Facebook, a couple of Facebook accounts. Hey Lynn, Lynn Wilson, how you doing? Where's the send button? Thank you. And the thing is, once you got too many things to keep an eye on, you end up you end up like losing track of what's happening everywhere. Okay, Ivan Shim, thanks for joining on Periscope. I miss all the other notifications on Periscope because, you know, like I said, I'm multi-streaming on YouTube, Facebook, two Facebook accounts, Periscope, and primarily on Twitch, right? So Twitch is where I, is my primary live video platform, but I'm trying to monitor it across all these other platforms as well. If you can hear the screaming, it's not Noah in distress, it's him being very excited about Barney the dinosaur. Thank God he's found something something to latch onto. I was getting quite tired of watching the Teletubbies. Alright, so this is it. Okay, this tastes pretty good as is. So what I've put in there are fresh onion, also some fried, commercial fried shallots, some garlic, a little bit of lemongrass, some curry powder, some minced preserved radish. All right, there's something that's worth keeping an eye out for, though you are best finding it at an Asian grocery store that actually caters to Southeast Asians, okay? So if you don't know what Southeast Asia is, Southeast Asia basically are countries like Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Brunei, Philippines. I hope I haven't. Burma. Okay, so these are the countries we're talking about. There are a lot of crossovers in our cuisines. So if you look for an Asian grocery store, not all Asians are the same, all right? So you would be hard pressed to find this in a grocery store that caters to, say, the Japanese or the Koreans or something like that, or even to the Chinese from China, okay? But this is something you should be able to find quite easily at a grocery store. Usually the ones here in Australia, certainly anyway, are my best bet are the ones run by the Vietnamese, and more specifically, the ones run by the Vietnamese in Cabramatta, okay? So Cabramatta is a Southeast Asian hub for a lot of the ingredients that I use in my cooking, okay? And now my my Chrome is crashed as well, so this is not a good streaming day for me. Let me have a look. What's going on? Okay, so my Chrome has just crashed. Let me just move this and see if I can relaunch it. Okay. Let's put this over here. Okay, so there you go. Let me just put this, hopefully that doesn't cause the glass bowl to break. It won't be the first time I've broken something live on air. Let me just move this away. this is the sticky rice that I cooked up in my pressure cooker. Okay, just kill the unresponsive page. Okay, so you can see the coconut cream is sitting on top. The rice is quite dense. Oops, that's not a good sign. Okay, so the rice needs cooking a little bit more, and it needs more water as well. Let me just clean this area up a little bit. Okay, I've got a feeling this is my first time attempting sticky rice in a pressure cooker. So I think the pressure might have actually caused the rice to not fluff up. Okay, let me just add a bit more water to this, and it is like about 2/3 of the way cooked. So I'm going to cook it again with more liquid, and we're going to end up with a rice that's fairly soft, a sticky rice that's fairly soft and gluggy, but that actually works for this particular recipe. Okay, let's do this. Here we go. Okay, let's have a look. No more drop frames for the moment, so hopefully we're okay. Let me just try and kill Chrome on this page and start it up again. Okay. Kill. Okay. Just going to close down a few browser tabs on here. Okay, let's try again. Okay, Twitch.tv. Here we go. Sorry about this, guys. So here's the filling, right? I'm going to just transfer it into another bowl. Let me just get rid of the rest of this coconut. And transfer it in here. The iPad stand appears to be working. Yeah, it is working. It's great, right? I'm very impressed with it. So this Sunday, assuming all things go well, like I said, I plan to do an additional a social eating broadcast this particular Sunday my time, which is GMT plus 10, about 12 p.m. noon my time. I'm thinking about it, I plan to do a social eating broadcast from this Vietnamese restaurant in this suburb here in Sydney called Strathfield. So I've been invited there by the owners, who are hoping to offer their satay sauce, right, as giveaways to my international audience. So you guys ready to get excited about that? So I will be offering that to my international audience after the meeting. Okay, so the meeting is basically going to be like not just an eating expedition, but I'm actually meeting with the owners so we can talk a little bit about how we can work together, right? Are you cooking something for me? I could be, you know. In case the message was lost, have you tried replacing the Cat 5, Cat 6 cable you're using? Drop frames, it's easy ones. Is that right? Oh, I did not know. No, I have not tried it. I'm gonna. Okay, I'll dig around for a replacement Cat 5. I do have some lying around, so yeah, I didn't see that message. Thanks for that. And hey, Remy, how you doing? I lost all the messages because my screen froze up here. Maybe yeah, it's the cheapest option to replace to see if it fixes things. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I'll try that next time. Did it freeze up on you guys a number of times earlier, or? Because it says I've dropped it. Usually if I were dropping too many frames, it will actually warn me or say that you've lost too many frames or whatever, and it might interrupt the broadcast. But it has not popped up any warning at all so far, but I can just see from the stats that I've dropped 720 frames so far. Okay. Okay, this tastes pretty good. Alright. A little bit on the salty side, to be fair. Could it use more sugar? Let me just toss it A few times for about a second or so. Okay, no extended freezes. Good, thank you. Thanks for that. Let me just add a little bit more sugar to this. If in doubt, add sugar. All right. The Indonesian have something very simple, similar to this, right? They call it lemper. Lemper, they usually use chicken, and the color is a little bit lighter, right? In fact, it's very light. But essentially, the idea is the same. It's a sticky rice wrapped in banana leaf, but the Indonesian version is filled with chicken, right? So it's called lemper ayam. Ayam means chicken. So you can use chicken, shredded chicken as well if you want, okay? But Malaysia, more traditionally, we will use either fresh prawn or more typically minced dried prawn, okay? So these are different ways to kind of like play around with the recipe essentially, okay? And because I didn't have any fresh, I do have fresh prawn, I didn't want to waste it. Okay, no worries, Remy. I wanted to basically just make a vegan version of it for a change, so hopefully my vegan audience, and you won't believe it, but when I started on Twitch, I used to do one in every 3 broadcasts, which is every Friday broadcast used to be a vegan dedicated stream, all right? And I planned to do that because I had someone who was interested in co-hosting with me who is a vegan, and it was just too hard to align our schedules in the end, so I basically ran with it for a while on my own. But I'm not actually a vegan, so like, you think it's bad enough that I've got all this food that I keep cooking that I don't end up finishing, worse yet when I've got all this vegan food that I've got, you know, that I don't end up eating. But let me just put this coconut cream away and the dried shrimp as well, and while we're waiting for that, I might actually get started on the next recipe, right? Okay, I've realized I don't just have a whole chicken, I've also got some leftover chicken legs here, so I'm going to cook that up right away as a chicken curry for Noah, alright? Because I know he is craving his curry and I need to use this up. So again, a very quick and simple one. We need some more onion and we are going to need some garlic, and I want some ginger to this as well, so let me grab that. Okay, so this is some leftover, like, kind of like offcuts of onion from when I did my last broadcast, and had some leftover from the crispy fried shallots, all right? So this is what you do. You save it, keep it in the fridge, and for the next time you want to make some rempah, and this is perfect for you to kind of use for that, all right? So I'm going to throw the ginger in. I'm also going to throw in some garlic. This is already pre-minced, but this is fresh garlic that I pre-mince in batches and I use for this kind of stuff. And the other thing I need is, okay, I need more onion, right? So got the garlic in there. And let's grab some more onion. So I'm just going to top it up with one more whole onion over here. Okay, let's peel and quarter it, and then we're going to throw it in here as well and blend it up. I need to grab the lid for that as well. Okay. That's what happens when you're when you're sick and you're playing catch up. You space off on all the shopping you did for all these recipes you meant to get around to but never did, or you didn't end up needing, right? Okay, so that's the onion, because I bought the whole chicken for one of my barbecue recipes. I ended up not needing it because I had enough recipes to produce 4 more videos last weekend, and now it's been sitting in my fridge for like several days now, so I better get onto it soon. Okay, so onion, garlic, and a little knob of ginger in there, and we're gonna throw in some lemongrass as well. So of course I've put away, so I'm gonna grab it back. Okay, let's just zip this. How are my frames? Okay, my frames are still okay. There you go. So all nicely blended up. And let me just put the Pulut Panggang filling away for the moment. And I'll come back with some minced lemongrass and some oil as well. I like eternal stew when I have to start using up ingredients and I'm feeling lazy. Eternal stew sounds like a good idea. I'm getting to that stage, you know. Like I've got raw, I actually just threw out some leftover minced raw beef, right? Raw minced beef, and also some minced chicken, because those don't last very long and my fridge seems to be a little bit dodgy at the moment. Anyone who wants to sponsor me for a fridge, all right? Any fridge companies, let me know. I am all ears, because mine's falling apart. Okay, let's go back to this frying pan, okay? So we can repurpose this without having to wash out, because the flavors aren't too dissimilar. Again, let's throw this in. So right now in my fridge I still have that whole chicken, and I don't have room in my freezer to chuck it in, so I really need to cook it up tomorrow. And tomorrow, being Thursday, is my one market day a week, so I'm going to be out all day, and hopefully there's not too much fuss about the stuff that I've been doing online, right? Because I started a petition about my right to be able to keep my child with me at my market stall when I'm trading. Not that he's there much nowadays, only during the school holidays, which are already over now, but there was some controversy because the police got called, right? Because some anonymous person presumably felt that it was child abuse for me to have my child with me at my market store. So it got escalated to the point that the police were called, they found no wrongdoing and they left, but just by virtue of their actions I figured it was time to kind of like raise awareness about this kind of stuff happening in our society, right? So onion, garlic, and ginger and lemongrass in here. I'm just gonna throw in some curry powder again, and again I'm just using the rendang curry powder because it's quick and simple, and it's already open. All right, it doesn't, in all honesty, matter too much the kind of curry powder that you use in these. But more traditionally, rendang curry, you would expect it to be a little bit more strong flavored. Usually it would be more suited to like drier style curries, all right? But like I said, I'm not too worried about it. I'm just wanting to use up this chicken quickly before it goes off. Let's tie this up. Okay, so the curry powder does actually absorb some of the moisture in the onions. But let's fry this for a couple of minutes before we add the oil. Again, like we did the last time. Just put this over here. Let's put this here. Let's heat this up. Okay. Okay, I don't hear the sizzle, right? The sizzle usually indicates moisture. I don't hear the sizzle much at all, so I think it's safe for me to actually already add the oil in here. But if you do like heat this up and you hear a lot of sizzling, it means there's a lot of moisture left in the onion still. So you want to actually fry it dry before you add the oil, otherwise it just spits all over your kitchen like towels and stuff, right? When you say strongly flavored, as in it more zing in it, yeah. It has, usually it will be spicier. It tastes like the spices are heavier, and also it'll be a little bit have more heat in it as well, right? But yeah, and also more traditionally, yeah. Look, you know, rendang. The most famous rendang is beef rendang. So traditionally, this you would use this with beef, but though you know we do chicken rendang as well. All right, but I'm just gonna cook it as though this is a curry, okay? Because I didn't want to dig around for the meat curry powder, which is more more typical of what I would use for my chicken curry. All right. Some oil. Lily, thanks for joining. Linda, Stephen, thanks for joining. Okay, here we go. Let's add this oil. Tawana sad on YouTube. YouTube is like troll central for me. Okay, so I've added the oil. Now it's starting to sizzle. Now I want to fry this till again the oil separates. All right, but essentially till this is browned, basically. All right, make sure you say hello wherever you're watching from. And I will try and keep an eye on your chat messages, okay? It's a little bit tricky with Facebook because Facebook, I'm streaming on 2 separate Facebook profiles. But I'm watching the comments on my Facebook page profile, which is Jackie M Food, all right? And if you're watching anywhere else at all, thanks for joining. But if you want to be in the running, if you want your name in the draw for all these giveaways that I usually have, you need to follow me on Twitch, all right? Which is twitch.tv/Jackie M Food, right? You don't actually have to subscribe. You can if you do. I'll be very grateful. But you don't actually have to subscribe. You just, if you're watching this on a mobile on Twitch, you just hit the heart button, and that, you know, makes you my Twitch follower and automatically enters your name into any draws that I have. If you're watching, especially, basically, for all kinds of stuff, right? So I've given away like hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of giveaways over the course of the last few months. And they vary in terms of what they are. Everything from Rode microphones to Lenovo mini speakers to Asian ingredients, all right? So we've given away some very interesting ingredients. And also coming up, we have ayam curry powder to give away, ayam sauce ingredients to give away if you're based in New South Wales, Australia only, all right? So some of the giveaways are region restricted because they are basically sponsored by these companies that offer them, right? But this one here, Satay Boys, all right? I think, Sea Whiskey, I think you would like this because this is super, super spicy, super hot, all right? And Satay Boys owner is happy to ship this anywhere around the world. Okay, I just need to meet up with him this Sunday. We can work out the details of what we're gonna offer, how many we're gonna offer and all that sort of stuff, okay? But he has told me in principle he's happy to send this anywhere around the world, so. And also I have barbecue units to give away later on, okay? When I Sea Whiskey. Yeah, I know you don't like giveaways, alright? Sea Whiskey is one of my followers. He keeps winning giveaways that he doesn't particularly want, so he either asks me to forfeit his, or he asks me to give it to somebody else on Twitch, which is very, very kind of him. Alright, so we're frying this up. I'm going to throw in the chicken now, just to kind of like brown up the chicken along with the spice paste at the same time as well, okay? I've been very light-handed with the rendang curry spice here, in all honesty. That's because first of all, I don't have that much chicken in here, and second of all, because like I said, rendang curries tend to be a little bit strong flavored, right? The spice mixes tend to be a little bit strong flavored. and I want this probably a little bit less so, okay, than your average rendang. So I only have apparently 6 chicken legs, okay, so in they go. Put this away. And frankly, if you want this to cook a little bit faster, you can, after you brown the spice paste, you can just toss everything in your pressure cooker and pressure cook it, okay? And that will speed things up for you. But like, because we're not cooking that much at all, I'm quite happy to just stir this. Plus my pressure cooker is being used for the sticky rice at the moment. And the other thing, I also have this other pressure cooker, the Instant Pot, which Soybean Jenny has one of, right? And she creates fabulous recipes in them. But I found that I had to do a comparison study between the Instant Pot and the Optimum Pressure Cook, and the pressure cook comes up like, you know, way ahead in terms of its features and functionality, right? They both do the job, okay? So if you're trying to pressure cook something, they both work fine. It's just, you notice with my Optimum Pressure Cook, it helps you, it tells you where you are at, and it also doesn't, it has more safety features in it that allows it to do its job properly, okay? Because with the Instant Pot, a couple of times I got caught out when I thought it was doing its job. It didn't, but one time it didn't come up to pressure, another time it didn't, like, for whatever reason, it didn't heat up at all. I don't know what I did wrong, but I was live streaming at the time, so I wasn't too focused on it. But yeah, in terms of you know, ease of use, if you're ever in the market for a pressure cooker, check out the Optimum Pressure Cook. Okay, just Google Optimum Pressure Cook, or go to my website. I've done a comparison study of these units in the past, in the recent past, okay? Okay. So this is coming along quite nicely. I do have some chicken stock, and I'm contemplating if I should add some chicken stock to this. It's chicken stock concentrate actually that I'm trying to use up. But no, I'm gonna spare it. So I'm just gonna add some water to this, okay? And coconut cream, all right? A lot of people, like a lot of recipes say you add the coconut cream at the end, otherwise it curdles. I never do that. I just add it in when I want to add it in, okay? It never seems to be a problem. And with coconut cream or coconut milk, curdling is not the same as curdled milk, all right? Curdled milk suggests the milk is off, but curdled coconut cream or coconut milk just suggests, yeah, it's aesthetically a little bit like, yeah, different, but it doesn't actually affect the flavor of the your recipe, okay? So we're gonna add a little bit of sugar to this, okay? So it's gonna put like about a teaspoon's worth of sugar, and we are going to add a little bit of salt. Okay, about half a teaspoon of salt, and now we're gonna add, you know what? I'm gonna add chicken powder, okay? So this is my chicken powder, all right? It's chicken seasoning powder, it's called. Okay, the brand I use is Knorr, K-N-O-R-R. I'm not getting sponsored by any of these. If I were, I would let you guys know ahead of time, all right? So just mixing it up together. And using chicken powder is really kind of like using stock cubes, okay? So it's like using crushed stock cubes. Okay, but it is better, okay, in my opinion. So I'm going to put probably about a tablespoon of chicken powder. Curdled cow's milk is used with old blue milk recipes. Oh, is that right? As in like blue cheese, you mean, or? That's the thing I like, yeah, cheese to me is a weird thing, all right? Especially, who was it? I think it was Highlings who told me about the maggot cheese in Italy, and that's just completely turned me off cheese forever. Not that I actually eat cheese much anyway. Okay, you can see, I don't know if you can notice, this curry is very, very pale, okay? So it's very, very like, yeah. I could almost like be inclined to actually add more curry spices to it, but if I added it now, it probably will end up tasting gritty, okay? And that's not what I want. I'm just gonna turn down the heat, and I'm gonna put a lid on this. Okay, that'll help the heat circulate and help cook the chicken a little bit more Blue milk was the term used for milk that had a matte or blue mold. What the hell? As in, oops, it's spoiled. But you like, but you don't use it though, right? Surely you can't actually consume blue milk. You make it sound like it's a recipe of some sort. Curdled cow's milk equals used with old blue milk recipes. Old blue milk. Does anyone know what old blue milk is apart from seal whiskey? Okay. Okay, you see what I mean? It tells you cooking is done, so that's one thing. And the thing about one point of difference between these two, I noticed as well. When it tells me cooking is done, it means that it's done. Okay, I just cancel the keep warm, open it up, and pop up the lid, and lift it up, and the handles are cool to touch, right? Whereas with the Instant Pot, it doesn't tell you cooking is done, it just beeps, right? But then you're going to find that it's still pressurized, okay? So you have to either release the pressure manually by using something to manipulate the vent, okay? And you've got to be careful because it's hot. Or you let it cool down naturally, and that will be an extra 15 minutes or so, okay? And the other thing I got to point out as well is that it's not cool to touch like this, right? That's Noah again. Just let me check on this rice just to make sure it's cooked through this time around. Where is the lid? Where is my rice spatula? Okay. So this is cooked through now, okay? So sticky rice does usually need more time to cook. RTN 911, how you doing? Blue milk recipe I've come across are mostly from 16 to 1800s. Do they actually eat it? What do they use for blue milk? And why are you exploring recipes from the Middle Ages? 1600s. Steam is making me hungry. I know. Okay, so this sticky rice is done. All right, like I say, it is mushy because it's not steamed, rather it's cooked like rice. But that's fine because for this particular recipe that we're going to use it in, mushy is good, okay? There's no one knocking on the door. I'm just going to check on him in a second. Let's just... So this is a very, very like a mild looking chicken curry that I'm ending up with, okay? Because I was very, very light-handed with the rendang curry spice mix over there. But this will be another 5 minutes or so to cook up. Most of it was used for baking, so it's sterilized, okay? Yeah, I'm not betting on it. Have you actually tried to make anything? Like, have you actually tried any of the recipes? Let me just move this away. I'm just gonna move some of this liquid away before I get to Noah. A few times. They're not as tasty, but they're safe. All right. Hey. 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 What you doing? Hey, what you doing? I think he just decided he wants to eat. What did you make with them? The blue milk. I have no. I'm gonna have to hop online and Google blue milk after this. But you know, assuming it's their way of using up like spoiled milk, right? In a safe way, then fair enough. But if they were doing it for culinary reasons, then I'm not so sure about that. That's probably how it started out. It's like, oh damn, we've spoiled the milk. What are we gonna do with it without having to throw it out? And then people think, oh, that's a thing. Blue milk biscuits, blue milk rolls. Oh wow. Do you have any photos? Just moving this away from Noah. Okay, so this is what he does, alright? Noah actually operates, communicates with cards nowadays, photo cards. So he's picked out a card for bananas, which I know he doesn't eat, all right, because well, first of all, he'll eat like 2 pieces, so it's redundant. When things people look forward to was a way not to waste food. Okay, see, I knew it. Arrowroot biscuits, rice, right, and this spinner toy thing, which is actually meant to be like one of these workout boards that he's decided is his toy, and he uses it to sit on the floor and spin around. So he doesn't just grab one card, he grabs like 50 cards. That's so cute. I haven't taken a picture of anything in the last 30 years. Let's have our receipts and cats. Oh. Okay. Now you want biscuits. Mommy get you some biscuits. Okay, we got some new biscuits for you today. Where is it? Okay. I took Noah to childcare today. Okay, this is not the one. And Noah has no teeth, so it's not a lot he can eat, right? So if he has arrowroot biscuits, I have to break them up into quarters for him to be able to kind of like basically stick in his mouth and let it dissolve slowly. But then I took him to a play group today, which is for special needs kids, and one of the other parents, 2 of the other parents, had these, and they were called potato sticks. And because I don't actually snack, all right, so I don't really know what to get him apart from arrowroot biscuits. And they gave him one of these, and he really liked it. Now apparently it just dissolves nicely, and I think, all right, that works perfectly. Oscar, how you doing? Oh, you're doing vegan food today. I know, right? Look, I'm doing vegan food just because I didn't have the ingredients I need to do what I really wanted to do, which is you know, it's the same thing but with the dried shrimp. I didn't have any dried shrimp. I think I've got some in my freezer down my garage, but I didn't want to spend half an hour digging around for it. But yeah, these potato sticks, right? And they say, oh, it's healthy and whatever. So they gave it to him, and he loves it because you can hold it as a stick, and he chews on it because he's got no teeth. And again, it just dissolves in his mouth. So I went to the supermarket right after that play group, and I bought like huge amounts of it. And I opened it up, and I taste one, and I promise you, it says no MSG. I promise you, it tastes like it's got MSG in it. So whatever it is. I am fabulous, Oscar. How are you? Artie, and thanks for following. And yeah, so it tastes to me like it's and it tastes to me like it's overly salty as well, in all honesty. But that's just me because I'm very not to say that I'm all healthy and whatever, health freaky and whatever. But anything. Oops. No. Anything. Because this was not actually in the kids baby food section. This was actually in the health food section, all right? So what it is essentially is kind of like potato crisp, but with less salt, okay? It says 50% less fat and dairy free. It doesn't say less salt, actually. No artificial flavors or colors, no added MSG, whatever that means. There was, they're good. My son used to eat them when, oh, you had them too? All right, thanks for hosting, Oscar. But yeah, I've never seen them, and I bought them because he seemed to like them, so hopefully he'll... Noe, you want to eat this? Here you go. Yeah, good boy. Okay, let's check on the chicken curry, right? No added MSG, I'm guessing it has seaweed then. That's a good question, I'm not sure. Let's have a look. May contain sesame, it contains wheat. It's potato starch, rice, wheat flour, vegetable oil, chicken seasoning, huh? See what I mean, guys? You guys make fun of me using chicken powder. They use it a lot in all these snack foods. Salt, yeast extract, vegetable powder, onion, garlic, dextrose, mineral salt, sugar, herb, anti-caking agent, natural flavor, acidity regulator. Okay. There you go. Chicken powder, I know, right? See, you guys stop making fun of me and my chicken powder, all right? Chicken powder, chicken seasoning, and all that. It permeates all your Western snack foods. It's just very politically incorrect to say so. CB has a ton of glutamate. I know, right? Yeah, I know. See, that's why I'm not averse to MSG, right? Because it does actually exist in natural form in all kinds of ingredients. Yeah, you want another one? Here you go. Yeah, good boy. He's so happy with that. No, mine, if it has chicken, it has glutamic acid from the meat. All right, is that right? There you go, so you know. Okay. Okay, this tastes fine. This is ready. So guys, if you want to make a quick and easy chicken curry, there you go, right? And if you don't have lemongrass, leave it out. The primary ingredients you want are like onion and garlic, okay? If you have ginger, throw it in like I did. Sometimes I don't. I added the lemongrass because I had some lying around, but ultimately onion and garlic are your key ingredients that you want to keep a good supply of all the time in your pantry. And also a curry powder mix, all right? Tomatoes have MSG. Is that right? Hey, try it. How you doing? Really? Tomatoes have MSG. Well, there you go. See? Nobody ever make fun of me and my MSG love affair again. All right. Let me just cut into this just to make sure the chicken is cooked through properly. All right. Okay, it needs a little bit more simmering, to be fair. Okay. Let me just get more of this one off. He's addicted to this. Now I think he's gonna end up eating this. MSG is good. MSG is flavor. I know, right? Thank God. Thank God I've got some sensible audience members here. And when I mention MSG on Facebook, people give an angry face. Susan, thanks for joining. Yeah, when I mention MSG on Facebook, I get like angry reactions, angry emotes. But, so there you go. And I've mentioned before, like I was told not to mention chicken powder. I did a series of live cooking sessions for a Malaysian government body, and they had to pull me aside after my first series and tell me to stop mentioning chicken powder because of the implication of MSG. It's quite funny. So let's cover this. One tobacco leaf versus enough tomatoes to crush you. What are we talking about? One tobacco leaf versus enough tomatoes to crush you under their weight. Okay, so let's move this a little bit. Let me grab the rice now. So we got the rice, right? This is sticky rice, by the way, guys, right? And look, if you can't get sticky rice, you can use sushi rice in all honesty, but Malaysia we use sticky rice. And this is the filling that we're going to use for it, and it is, like I said, a vegan filling, and it is made of shredded coconut, onion, garlic, lemongrass, a little bit of curry powder, okay, some fried shallots, right, just to add a little bit of bulk to it. And the secret ingredient I added to this was minced preserved radish, okay? This is something that usually you will find in a Thai pad Thai, okay, and which I used to use in something called fried radish cake, Malaysian fried radish cake. Noah's just really going for the those potato things. I don't know if you can hear him in the background, just kind of like crunching away. How naturally in tomatoes, cheese, and other foods. Ah, right. Jason's, she asked, oh, hold on a minute. Okay, we're addicted to tomatoes. All right. Okay, gotcha. Okay, let me just move this aside, and I'm gonna get another cutting board to allow me to start putting together these sticky rice rolls, all right, these vegan rice rolls. Okay, just gonna move the, I want a cheese pizza. The other thing I noticed at playgroup today, because Noah doesn't have these kinds of toys, there was like you know, there's fake food at playgroup, right? There was a fake piece of cheese. I was told at childcare that Noah hated cheese, right? So I've never bought him like these cheese slices. And then I was told like a couple of weeks ago that somehow he started actually eating some cheese slices. I didn't know how much. Maybe I thought maybe he'd take a bite of it, you know, as opposed to bursting into tears when he was offered like he used to, apparently. So I spaced it off. Then today at playgroup, like they had like this fake cheese slice, and he kept trying to eat it. So the other thing I did on the way back from playgroup was that I bought him some cheese slices. And of course, like I said, I don't really eat cheese per se, right? And I don't buy cheese, those, like, you know, instant cheese slices. It is very salty. I don't know if you guys find that, but like, whoa, yeah. I sound like an old person complaining about too much salt in my food, but it really tasted salty to me. I was thinking, how do you eat through like all these like, you know, salty food? American cheese. Hey Julie, sticky rice in the pressure cooker. Yeah, I use steam in the sticky rice basket. I find steaming just takes forever. It just takes too long, you know. I don't know if it's just me or what, but plastic cheese. Yeah, I know, right? Mimolette. Mimolette, I've never heard of mimolette. Is that American cheese? But yeah, it is like cooked in the rice cooker, but cooked twice over. Okay, 'cause the first time round it actually wasn't cooked through properly enough. But the reason I can get away with cooking in the rice cooker is for this particular recipe, I do want it a little bit gluggy. If I steam it, it tends to be more, you know, more loose, okay? But I do tend to find, like back when I ran my restaurant, that steaming was just a pain. It just seemed to take 5 years, you know. Steaming sticky rice in particular. Steaming any rice seemed to take a long time. The other thing I usually do with this, in all honesty, is that I usually actually use a stapler, right, to staple the ends of this. When I sold it at my restaurant, I cannot for the life of me find staples, my stapler today. So I'm going to use some bamboo skewers. Okay, these are actually meant for satay, and I'm going to break them into like small bits. Restart required. You know what? Windows 10 is very annoying. All right, it feels like every 2 days it wants to update and restart stuff. I'm feeling most people would be a bit freaked out by it. What's mimolette? Much better. Real cheese, just as good for melting. Mimolette, never heard of it. Okay, so I'm breaking this into little chunks, all right? And unfortunately, these it's only sharp on the one end, all right? So I don't know if it's going to be able to work here. But this is banana leaf that has not been softened, okay? But the heat from the sticky rice should actually do the trick for me, okay? So I don't actually need to soften it any further, since the sticky rice is already hot and it's going to help to soften the leaf as I go. So what I would do is place a bit of rice over here, okay? Just kind of like flatten it out and kind of like make a little bit of a valley in the middle here, okay? And this is where you stick the filling in, okay? Like I said, usually this filling will not be vegan, okay? It is vegan because I don't have any dried shrimp around, and I don't want to I'm too cheap to use fresh prawns for this, okay? You could technically, like I said, do what the Indonesians do and actually use chicken, okay? So there you go, that's the filling there. And then what you want to do, you're basically rolling it up like a sushi roll, okay? So you want to kind of like meet the two ends of the rice, okay? So there you go. And then you want to just pull this towards you, okay? And then just roll it up like this, and then you want to secure the two ends, okay? And like I said, these are not sharp, so I don't think I'm going to have much success piercing these, okay? So I'm going to pierce this with this, right? Pull it back out, and I'm going to use the non-sharp wooden bits, okay, to kind of feed through that. Isn't that clever? Do you cook with dried anchovy? Yes, I did. Bought a pack and don't know what to do. You goose. I just did a recipe with dried anchovies the other day. I basically used it as a stock base, right? So this is how this looks, and usually you want to pretty this up, and you just trim off the edges, right? And there you go. That's your sticky rice roll, okay? And I used to sell this when I used dried shrimp. I used to sell this for anywhere between $4 and $4.50 each, okay? Again, just another piece of banana leaf. Oopsies! Never you wanna pick it up? You wanna pick up? Little monkey. There you go. It's virtually plowed through the whole packet. Yeah, dried anchovies. I use as a stock base. I also use in. I also fry it up like till it's crispy, and then use it as a topping on like a soupy noodles. And I also use it in ikan bilis. If you Google ikan bilis, oh not Google, if you do a search for ikan bilis on my website, you'll find it used in a lot of recipes. So I cook a sambal with it and toss it through, and that produces like a kind of like a crunchy, salty, kind of like, you know, thing in my sambal, right? Dried shrimp is so expensive, Jackie. Oh yeah, it is. But the cheapest variety you can buy is like the tiny little orange ones that's usually kept in the fridge or freezer section of your Asian grocery store. That's the one I get, and I think it's from Thailand or Vietnam. And that's like nowadays I think it's like about $15 per kilo, which is about as cheap as it gets. It used to be cheaper, but yeah, I mean like back in my day in Malaysia, dried shrimp. You eat dried shrimp because you can't, because it's like a poor man's food. Nowadays it's like a almost like a gourmet ingredient. Okay, and you can get different grades of like it's a Japanese dish. The yeah, it's almost like a gourmet dish, and you get different grades of like dried shrimp. Someone's car alarm is going off. Okay, let's do another one of these things, right? Again, this sticky rice I actually cooked with some coconut cream in it as well, just to kind of like add a little bit of a interesting creaminess to it. Okay, but having coconut cream in the sticky rice does cause it to deteriorate faster. All right, so you would want to eat this up quickly or keep it in the fridge, otherwise the coconut cream will cause it to go off quite quickly. When I made this in my restaurant or at my market stores, I don't know if I think I used to use plain rice, in all honesty, just so that it didn't go off when you're selling it, like, you know, and, under the hot sun on a long day. Let me just check on Noah. Pump this up, silly Lily. Okay, you want to watch Teletubbies? You want to watch Barney? Okay, watch Barney. Yeah, I'm cheap. I buy the small dried shrimp, but the big ones are like $60. Holy moly, $60. Crazy. I thought I heard a car alarm. Yeah. That's pretty cool of you to experiment and buy it though, Julie. Not Julie, Sammy. Okay, let's print this. $60 a kilo, holy moly. I think I would. I'll wait till next time I go to Malaysia. See what a lot of Malaysians do when they come through, when they go home for a holiday. You see it on the Malaysian Facebook groups. Invariably, like every couple of days, someone will post, "Oh, are we allowed to bring this into Australia?" and that sort of stuff. Okay, I'm doing a really bad job of piercing this. So you know, Malaysians are very inclined to bring a certain set of foodstuffs back from Malaysia, and usually dried shrimp will be one of them. And then people will advise, "Oh, this is what you need to do. You need to declare them. You need to have them packed properly, and all that sort of stuff." Okay, so there you go. Okay, Barney, you can hear it. I'm gonna turn it down a bit. I'll go buy crab or lobster. I know, right? 60 freaking bucks. Holy crap. The I'm only turning down the audio, the Barney song, because I don't want to be bounced off YouTube or Facebook, because YouTube and Facebook have you know, copyright music kind of like claims and all that rubbish, which makes it hard. Okay, so again, just this is equivalent to about I guess 2.5 tablespoons of rice, right? And again, this in the middle. What's the best way to reheat these Pulut Panggang after they've been kept in the fridge? Microwave. Microwave tends to leave them uneven, so you're best to actually pan fry it with the lid covered on low heat. But anything like a lot of these Malaysian snacks, when you reheat them via microwave, you'll find that like part of it is soft and the other part is still crunchy. Just like those things I made the other day, right? My last broadcast, I've still got them still here. I haven't refrigerated them. These are the blue kueh kochi, which are glutinous rice flour dumplings, right? They get hard when they cool down, all right? So this is not palatable as is. You need to actually reheat this, and I did actually try to microwave it first earlier when I ate some, and again, like it was like patchy, you know, it was patchily like crunchy and patchily like soft. So I ended up just throwing it back in the steamer, and it steamed perfectly, right? Okay, so there you go. And Julie, next Wednesday evening, I'm going to be in Candy Heights actually, filming for Fairfield City Council, again for this marketing campaign to promote postcode 2166. So I will be in your hood basically. Okay, so let's break this up again. Some more. No, we stop unplugging that, please. Hmm? No, you got to keep this in, okay? This has to stay in. No, don't unplug it. Good boy. The funniest thing is Noah is fixated with if you're happy and you know it now. I mean, I had never seen him like interact with a song the way he does with If You're Happy and You Know It, that they do on Barney. So it's quite cute to see him trying to stamp his feet and all that sort of stuff on the show. All right, this is just killing me because I really need the sharp edge bits to do this properly. So I quit after this last one. Are you eating at Candy Heights? Yes, I am. We're going to be filming in Candy Heights. Actually, are you on Discord? I'm not sure if you are. Yeah, Facebook. Right. Okay, you're on Facebook. I'll send you the restaurants that I'll be eating at because they're going to send me a list of the restaurants that they want to film, right? They usually want a bit of variety, a little bit of like an unusual kind of like, you know, they want places that serve food that you can't buy in other parts of Sydney. Like when we filmed in Canley Vale a few weeks ago, I had that Vietnamese caramelized fish, like technically it's meant to be eel, right? So the kind of stuff that you wouldn't usually find in other parts of Sydney. So that's their pitch for postcode 2166. Yeah. Holy Basil, maybe. I think Holy Basil will be one of them. Have you been to Holy Basil? I've been there. I used to buy takeaway and I've eaten in once maybe, right? Yeah, so be interesting. Holy Basil is quite well known, right? But funny thing about Asian eateries is that you would think like they would be beating a path to your door if you tell them that you're going to be filming in the restaurant and you actually pay for the food, right? Because that's how Fairfield City Council rolls. It's not like they're expecting a free feed in exchange for exposure. They actually pay for the food. But funnily enough, not all restaurants want the exposure. So when we filmed in Cabramatta, we actually yeah, that was our first shoot. When we filmed in Cabramatta, they had a list of restaurants they had targeted, and apparently one of the restaurants changed their minds about whether we could film there, so they ended up buying takeaway from that restaurant and bringing it back into their office studio for us to just film me assembling the dish and all that. I have eel in my freezer I need to use to... Really? Wow, you're pretty adventurous. I had no idea, Sammy, that you were that adventurous. A few times always a queue and the food servings are strong. All right, is that right? I did not know that about the food servings. That's why I hate queuing up for food, right? So hopefully we're going on Wednesday, so hopefully that will be like, it won't be like crazy busy. But yeah, I know what you mean about the the food servings. But I'll be interested to check out Candy Heights, because when I do go to Candy Heights, I usually just like, I stay safe because I don't really know where else to go, but it's good to be actually feeding on somebody else's dime and actually letting someone do the research as to what food, you know, is good to check out. But the idea with the 3 different like suburbs that we filmed is that they all have their own take as to their own points of difference, their own, I guess, unique selling points, right? So Cabramatta, everybody knows Cabramatta. Cabramatta's got everything. Cabramatta is super diverse, and Cabramatta is always bustling during the day. But the thing about Cabramatta is like, in the night, it just dies, okay? And you know what? The reason for that is the locals go to Canley Vale, like for family dinner in Canley Vale, all right? So Canley Vale, which is quite sleepy during the day, it comes alive at night. And then you get all these like fairly like upscale restaurants in Canley Vale where all these families go for family dinner, all right? The Vietnamese community, the Indo-Chinese community, right? But Candy Heights is also a nighttime dining destination, but Candy Heights is more young and hip, right? So I know the car alarm, I know, right? Yeah. Crazy. You can hear, you got good ears. Either you got good ears or my Rode microphone is super powerful. But yeah, Candy Heights, the pitch is that it's going to be kind of like a hip and happening place for young millennials, probably people like your age more so than someone like me. So Candy Heights becomes alive. Yeah, right? Yeah, I know. I was really surprised about Candyville. I hadn't been there for like 20-30 years. But Candyville, like I love the food there. It's really, I actually like after filming there, I went back there during the day one Saturday, because I know Saturday in Cabramatta is just completely crazy busy, right? You got lines and lines of like cars trying to get into car park. So I thought, let's try Candyvale instead. So I actually went to Candyvale, which, like I said, was really sleepy during the day, but the restaurants are still open. So I actually ate there instead. So that kind of worked out. But Candy Heights, I would be very interested to check out. So the filming is next Wednesday, which means that I won't be streaming next Wednesday. I'll just reschedule it. Okay, but this Sunday, like I said, I'm hoping to live stream a social eating stream. I'm not going to be cooking, obviously, but there's going to be at a restaurant, a Vietnamese restaurant in Strathfield, owned by the people who are offering these as a giveaway to my community. This is called Satay Boys, satay, hot satay sauce. All right, satay sauce in Malay means something completely different to satay sauce in Vietnamese. All right, and the funny thing is the satay sauce, right? Essentially, it's like a hot chili dip, right? I kept telling Terry, the owner of the company, that I'm going to feature it in some of my Instagram posts, but because I've been sick, I haven't been that adventurous in my food. And then I asked my Vietnamese staff last Thursday, I said, by the way, can I actually feature this like with like rice dishes? And he just looked at me like I said the strangest thing in the world. He said, no, satay sauce, you're only meant to eat it with noodles, soupy noodles. So there you go. I didn't even know that, right? So I have a lot to learn about Vietnamese food. Didn't you used to live near Candy Heights, Jay? You could have. Yeah, I went to Fairvale High. Yeah, I went to Fairvale High. I lived at the time in Edensor Park, right? But my local school was filled up when I first came to Australia. What are you doing, monkey? You want to eat? Okay, we're going to eat soon, okay? So the local schools were filled up, so I had to catch a bus to Fairvale High. So Fairvale was not technically my local, but like, you know, I did everything in Cabramatta because there's nothing, I mean, Fairfield like was very westernized back in the day. Like you're talking 33 years ago. I went to Fairvale. Yeah, and I had a really miserable 2 years in Fairvale. The funny thing is, Brown, I know, no, don't even get me started. I always thought when I first arrived in Australia, I was a grumpy teenager, right? Grumpy, rebellious teenager who was wondering what on earth I'm doing in Australia. And I thought like, brown is my worst color. And I go to Fairvale and like they have brown uniforms, not just brown uniforms, but brown checkered uniform. That's like the worst look you can have on me. And like, Noah's still hungry. I know. He ate the entire pack of these potato sticks. And now he's trying to reach for the rice to eat the rice. Okay, we're gonna eat. We're gonna eat. All right. Okay, radio. Okay, there you go. Hey. Hey. And the thing about Fairvale, I tried to reconnect with some of my old schoolmates in Fairvale. So obviously you go on Facebook and you look for them. And I messaged one of them and they never responded. So I was a little bit disappointed with that. But I seriously, like, if I were to reconnect with them, it would be kind of like to make amends. Because I wrote something fairly disparaging on my blog, my surumbangirl.com blog about my experience at high school, as you want to do. But I don't know if anyone remembers me from my time there, because I was very, very isolated there, and I skipped school a lot of the time. But yeah, I did try to reconnect with one person who I didn't completely dislike, and she never responded on Facebook. And I did a search for a couple of others, and they don't seem to be on Facebook. All right. Okay. No, we say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye, you little monkey. Okay, guys. Thanks so much for joining me again. Again, sorry about the. I'm still a little bit like underwhelmed because of my flu. But there you go. So the sticky rice, again, that's a vegan recipe, and of course I made some chicken curry as well, just to kind of like use up some chicken in the meantime. Next broadcast is this Friday at 6 p.m. Sydney time. Again, don't forget we had daylight savings a couple of weeks ago, so if you haven't caught my broadcast for a couple of weeks, just make sure you go to worldtimebuddy.com just to check on the time differences, and I will see you GMT plus 10, Friday at 6 p.m. and then Saturday we'll have campfire, and Sunday hopefully we will have social eating at this Vietnamese restaurant with Terry, the owner of the restaurant. All right, Vietnamese restaurant in Sydney, so it'll be interesting, especially if you're watching from anywhere outside of Sydney, really, I think. Okay. Thanks, see you, Whiskey. Have a great night. Yes, have a great it'll be middle of the night where you are now, right? Okay, I will see you next time. Thank you guys, thanks so much. Ciao.